Another episode of Stand Up Memories held over.
Are we on?
Held over for another episode. Eric Tartaglione, terrific comedian, and his wife Sue, who is the spicy psychic. And we were getting into it.
That has such a great ring to it.
It's a great name. But
I'm going to start calling you the spicy sidekick.
thank you. I love that.
We're co-hosts. You're not my sidekick. We're co-hosts.
Right.
But I like spicy sidekick.
Well, I'm honored.
In fact, I might
Really?
even get rid of you and get myself a spicy sidekick.
Okay, well, you do that. But we...
When we last left them, that's where
that's
you refer back.
when we last left them.
You
Eric
got
was,
back together in 1991, and you were in the throes of becoming,
It was 94.
94, a psychic.
Yes.
No, I'm talking about
Well,
the
it always
time in the
was,
middle,
yeah.
between the first meeting and the getting together permanently. You said you dated at some point.
Yes, and she would tell me stories, and she used to work at AT&T with Eddie Murphy's aunt.
Aunt.
Do you use it?
Very good.
Pronounce it correctly. And she was sitting in a break room, and this is the stuff that I would push her to develop it, because she would tell me stories. We're sitting there, and it may have been Eddie Murphy's aunt, not sure, but she said, "I can't find my stamps." And what did you say?
They're floating around in your kitchen sink, and that's before they were already sticky. You had to lick them,
Uh-huh.
so they're ruined.
But how would she know? She just said it without even
And
thinking.
she goes, "You're crazy, girl." She went home. The next day, she goes, "You're still crazy. They were floating around in my kitchen sink, and they were ruined."
The stories like that, but there's a million of them. Stuff that she does like that, impromptu. She just she wasn't
There
thinking.
can't be that many stories about stamps in the sink.
And
You'd be
she
surprised.
was digging in her pocketbook, and I knew that she was looking for stamps. That was just.
Stamps like that, not exactly the same story.
Oh,
But
you don't mean
Let's-
stamps like that. You mean
let's-
stories like
let's
that.
be
Stories
clear
like-
here.
See, you're so nervous. You should relax.
I'm totally relaxed. But you know, I've never been with a psychic, and I mean that in all due respect.
You didn't mean it in a biblical
no,
sense.
No, I did not.
Oh, you mean you never hung out with one? You don't mean you never rolled around in the sheet?
No, I've never had a psychic.
Got all
I
crazy
don't know.
and sweaty.
I wouldn't know how that works, and I think a lot of people would like to know more about how that works.
About sex?
No, about how a psychic reading works and what to expect. It's people. You're not a.
What he's asking is, did you guys get it on before you became a psychic?
Okay. All right.
Yes, exactly. That's what
That's
inquiring
what I'm
minds wanna
asking.
know.
Made me become psychic.
Yes, I did her so well. I pushed her into another realm. There you go.
Next thing you know, she was seeing
Do you
stamps.
realize? Do you realize
Right.
how classy this podcast is until you talk? I mean, my goodness, I'm trying to understand. What you don't do is
I would like to apologize to you for waking up our audience.
you don't foretell the future. You do.
Yeah.
Okay, well then a joke comes to mind. You know, you never were about to make love to Eric and found yourself saying, "Well, this is going to suck," before you even do it. Look at Eric. It's like
Yeah.
that happens a
No,
lot.
that happens.
Not tonight, hon. I don't feel.
Not tonight. I plan on having a headache.
But I mean,
My spirits are talking to me too much tonight.
well, we see things on television, but I strongly suspect television in the movies is not real. What you do is like in the
Well, if
in the
you're-
movies.
If you're asking me how I do a reading,
Yeah.
they either
Is
choose.
it a business?
It's my work, yes.
So
It's my-
like
it's my
people
path.
contact you, like
Oh,
you
yeah.
advertise or
I
word
have
of
an home
mouth?
office, and then I'll go to their place of business, their home. I've done stage, I've done restaurants, I've done.
So you can do
whatever.
this on, like you can do one-on-one, but on stage?
I do private one-on-ones. I do them on the phone, and I also do group sessions from 8 to 100.
And do you guys ever share a bill? Like,
No, well, we would like to.
We don't know how to make.
We don't really
I'm
know how.
talking about your dead grandmother, and then he's telling jokes. We
Yeah,
don't
it's
know how to
a very
incorporate-
odd
we don't know how to
combination.
Yes, it is.
incorporate
But
each
God
other
knows
together.
everything has been tried. You
That's
know?
true. Well, you know what? Listen, I
We
think
have a
there have
name,
been.
Fortunes and Funnies. We'd like to.
That's a great name.
And we were thinking of doing something like this. I would have to obviously open. You can't have a after. I've
gotta,
just
like, bring
contacted
him
your
up so
dead
I can bring him.
kid, and then I'm going to come up for a lift. That's an old story. You ever hear comics tell stories? We were at a fundraiser, and they're
Yeah.
crying, and the comics all have a story. And next thing they said, and now it's time for some comedy, and
Right.
it's never going to work.
Don't follow children. Don't follow animal acts. I guess you got to throw in. Don't
Don't follow dead people.
psychics.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
And,
It'd certainly be worth a shot.
Yeah,
You know,
we're open to it.
We're open to it.
But, you know,
like
comics,
maybe you should just go to a comedy club and after the show say, "Can I
has.
go up and do 10 dead
She's
people?"
done the giggle
I've
room.
done,
She's-
I've done stage. I've done the giggle room. I've done one-on-ones with the governors too. You know, they've had events.
have you ever wanted to warn somebody about something?
Yeah, I mean, every reading is, different. I say it's like a snowflake. Every reading's a little different. And I say I don't sugarcoat. I tell you the truth, but I don't scare anybody.
Wait, are you talking about warn them about something that's
Something
gonna
that's
happen?
bad that's going to happen.
So what I'll do is I'll sit with them and then I'll say, I don't want any detail. I'm not looking for anything. But do you have a question, concern, or focus? You don't have to. Because some of them, if they're taking a half an hour, I have to talk really fast. The hour, you can really unfold a lot more. But a half hour, I want to kind of get to what they're looking for. So they might say my career, my job. They may say nothing. You go where you got to go, fine. And then it just progresses. I also have been reading tarot cards for 20-something years, so I will incorporate them. They do help. They're like a deviation tool. They do help with more information for me or for my client. And it's just, everybody's a little bit different.
But they,
And I will tell them I'm seeing this, or I don't, they'll say, I really want to change my career to this. And I'll sit with them and think, and I'll say,
Yeah,
that's a
but you
great idea. Or I'll say, it really doesn't look like a great idea right here. Maybe we can do this.
okay.
She
but-
one time, I just
Go
say this,
ahead.
we were at a club, loud music, loud. She goes, I'm getting somebody's grandmother over there.
I think it was mother.
Oh, his mother?
Yeah.
Over there. I says, what? They won't leave me alone. So, and we were in a club. I mean,
We were with
right.
friends. It was loud, and I'm like, but
And
I don't-
she walks
to
over,
the cross the room.
and I'm watching her, and she goes, blah, 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 and they hug, and she comes back, and I said, look, it's a business. I said, did you give her a card? She goes, leave a tender moment alone.
Sometimes it's just about
But
the
who
message.
was it?
It was
Somebody random. The mother was there and telling me where to go. Just don't give my daughter this
So
message.
this wasn't somebody you knew.
No, it was a spirit.
No, we were at the club. We were at a nightclub.
It's a spirit. It was her mother. And I'm looking. There was hundreds of people there, and she showed me who she was. That's right. Who? Okay, the red dress, whatever. Went over, gave the message. She's crying, hugging me. Thank you, thank you. Sometimes it happens when I'm not really prepared, but it happens.
Do people come to you and ask you details or make demands that are not really fair? I bet this has happened to you. A female client, can you tell me if my husband is cheating on me? You've probably heard that.
That's a lot of readings, yeah.
But how can you just turn that on and know? I
Do
mean,
a lot of
I'll
people
give
sign
you
up
a-
for
let
a
me-
reading just specifically to ask you that?
Sometimes, I mean, I work on referrals. Everybody's like, go see her. Sometimes you're checking in, sometimes they have something specific. But I did see a woman who was very upset that her husband was cheating, and I saw a lot of imagery. And I said, I see 3 car seats out of the back seat, and the truck has the 2 tires in each slot. You know those trucks that
Yeah.
have 2 tires? I said, it's that kind of truck, which I've never said in a reading before, never seen, and that. So she says, we have 3 children in car seats. He's taken them out of the back seat. Anyway, she went home, she confronted him, and they made up. They went to counseling, and they're doing great. So that was a good story.
okay, that is
He
a good
confessed,
story.
but she didn't say how. She goes, I saw you, and he confessed everything.
Did
Went to
you ever
counseling.
have a woman come in and complain about her husband cheating, and you see the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next woman comes in and complains, and it's the same guy?
Would that be something? Sometimes they're all wrong, and I say, I'm sorry, I don't think this is happening. I don't see this, I don't feel this, it's not happening. But I will tell, whatever they ask me, I will answer to the best of my ability, and I'm always truthful.
Now, do you take it to a gig? Can you walk into a room and go, I wouldn't do your show tonight if I was you?
No, she never gets that. I'm concerned with her picking up information on other people, and then she doesn't want to walk up to strangers. I mean, it doesn't
No,
always
I
happen.
told him about
That's
certain
way
people.
that's way too
Bad
weird.
vibes about certain people to work with and stuff that I was worried about.
She has. Yes, she has. She's given me, she's given me vibes on people that she's met in comedy. There's some crazy comedy is.
Oh,
the only
really?
thing you did not tell us in the class was how just crazy comedy is. I have a story. I was doing
There
a
is
gig.
no way you can explain something. You can only experience that. Nobody can prepare you because you can only
Right.
be prepared this much, and then there's this much.
I'm doing a place called the Rocking Horse Ranch.
Oh, listen to this.
So I do this gig, and this guy comes up
This
to
is
me
the
afterwards.
place in Connecticut. Or-
Yeah,
It
it's
was
a
upstate.
upstate,
It's upstate.
and, right outside Poughkeepsie.
But that Wolfberg used to work there.
Yeah.
It goes back
Yeah, it
40
goes
years.
back. This is going back into the mid-2000s. So I am, I do the set, and this guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, thanks for the laughs." He says, "You from Long Island?" "Yeah." "Do you know Jimmy Finn?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I grew up with him. Tell him Uncle Festa says hello."
Jimmy Finn, at that time, was the manager of Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown
Everybody
on Long
thought he
Island.
owned it, which he didn't.
Right.
So, and this is what he says. "Here's $40. You're going to do a fundraiser tomorrow night?" "Yeah, I'm going to be there tomorrow." "Here's $40. Sir, I don't want to take your money. Here's $40. I'll know it gets there." "Sir, thanks for the laughs." Next night, I go and I got that $40 is burning a hole in my pocket. I don't want to forget. So I walk in, and the former owner of the brokerage, Gary Smith, is there. Gary Smith never gave me really the time of day. He had by then sold the club. I was kind of,
He doesn't know how, but go ahead.
okay. Well, he knew how to do this.
Listen,
He
this is great.
sees me, and he goes, "Hey." "Hi, Gary." That was weird. "Jimmy, I got this guy, Uncle Festa. He gave me $40 to give you for tonight's fundraiser." Uncle Festa popped up from behind the bar.
Set him up.
Gary Smith looked at me and went, "I thought you were going to get nailed."
I didn't follow what happened.
They were checking
I
to
know.
see. They were checking to see
He
if
actually
he
did
was
give him the money.
actually going to give him the money the next night
He greeted
for the
me.
benefit.
He hid down to see.
"Hi." And then afterwards, I needed a shower. I said, "This is comedy, man."
This is comedy. This is
And
comedy.
you know, it's a good thing that I saw him right off the bat. It's a good thing I remembered because I didn't want to take the money, but it was so unusual to carry money for somebody.
And you were torn because you were going to give 20
Exactly. Exactly.
and get caught.
There's nothing more fun than the lowness. There was a place that I worked in Jersey where I made $200, and it was right when the Stern Show was starting to kick in, and I was just becoming really part of it. And the next time I worked, it was like 2 or 3 years later, and I literally made 10 times as much money. And I just know the guy's name was Bob. It was a place in Jersey, and it was, rough and tumble, but a lot of people, because I was really drawing well, and I made $2,000. And this guy was a crazy cokehead, and I can remember this so clearly. And we're sitting at the table, his table in the back. I'm sitting over there, and he's sitting here, and he counts out, the 20 piles of 520s. You know what I mean? And he's coked out of his mind, and he's doing this, and it was such a great show, blah, 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 yak, yak, yak. And I'm taking the stacks. I told you this, right? I'm taking
Yeah.
the stacks of 20s. I count, and one of the stacks had 8 20s in it. And real quick in my mind, I was like, is this guy testing me?
Right.
Like to see if am I going to say, oh, there's too much money here,
Right.
But I said, you know what? I'll play his game. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. And I wound up, and I don't know whether it was a mistake or whether he was testing me and he was just so embarrassed that he had done it. But I think but He wasn't off by 1. He was off by 3,
Right,
which
right,
is,
right. It's an odd number to be off.
Can I?
But it was such an odd thing.
So you
know?
kept the extra money.
Yes! I still got those 320s.
All right, let me say something.
I gave them to Jimmy Finn.
Actually, we could examine your behavior here and actually say, well, why didn't you just say, oh, you overcounted, here's $60?
Because he might have been breaking my balls, and I didn't care. He
Okay,
made a mistake in my favor.
okay.
If that had 2 in it instead of 5, I would have just taken. No, I probably.
All right, well, the guy is dead now, and Sue has contacted him, and he wants his $60 back.
It's Bob from. I'll think of the name
State
of
Farm?
the place.
It's Jake from State Farm.
So funny.
Have you ever had somebody say to you, wait, I don't know if I can handle this? I'm sitting here going, if you actually contacted one of my relatives, I'd be almost
I have
afraid to
one
hear.
for you. Do you want me to give them to you? I have somebody around you right now.
You do?
Yeah.
Really?
I think that's your grandfather.
My grandfather.
And I want to say military. And I want to call him, I feel like France and Francis or France and Frank go together. Who is that?
General Bales?
Who's Francis? That's your grandfather?
It's my grandfather.
Don't look at me. I don't know.
Was he in France as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
he
Good man. He's come to a very good man.
he was in the army in World War I, and he
Young. He
served
went young,
in.
he said.
Huh?
He went in the war young, he said.
He went in very young. He lied about his age. He went in when he was 16, and he served in France in World War I. And this is one of those moments.
Ooh.
I can see.
They're yanking my chain right across the supermarket here.
Look, I can't explain it. She nailed it. Okay, but actually I feel good because I love my
And he's a
grandfather,
good energy for you.
and I look up to him.
How do you know him
He
if
died.
got killed in the war?
Huh? He didn't get killed in the war. He lived a long life, but his name was Francis, and he served in France in World War I. And we got this.
Francis served in France.
She just said that.
Yes. He served in France in World War I. How does she know Francis? How does she know any of this stuff? All right?
Okay.
And I'm Mr. Evidence, and let's,
And he's still alive.
No, he's not still alive. He died. He
Just
passed
said he
on.
didn't get killed in the war.
No, he didn't. He World War I. He died.
He's not
World
here.
War I, but you wouldn't have met him if he was in World War
I met him. I met him as a child. I certainly did.
He was
You're
a
forgetting
child
how
when
old
you
I
were
was a
raised.
child. I met him.
child when he met
I
him,
was a
and
child when he
they had-
died,
they had
even.
a connection.
But I
He
remember
was
him.
still alive from World War I when you were a kid.
Yes.
What was he, 100?
No. As a matter of fact, he was still in his 60s when he died. But if you do the math, I'm,
World War I was 1915, 16, 17. If he was that age, he was born around 1900. If he was in his 60s, 1965, you were how old? There you go.
there's plenty of, there was,
You couldn't do that simple math.
no, I still can't do that simple math. But I'm freaked out in a good way because,
There you go.
And I find him a special energy around you. I find him very
That's my
protective.
energy you feel.
Very
In all due respect.
For 1 minute. Very
I feel,
protective around you.
I feel Jackie's energy and I need to take a pill, an antidepressant.
I am a total cynic.
I'm going to get something for you too,
Do
Jackie.
not
Just
buy.
Wait. Did you hear what she said?
What?
Go.
wait.
She says she's got something for you.
But I have stuff for you. I'm waiting for it to come out.
I'm even though I have very small ears, I am all ears.
Okay, when I have it, like, it just
All right.
put it out for you.
All right. I'm freaked
Then I
I
out.
hope
like,
it's not
stop
my
the show,
first.
ba-dum-bum.
I hope
Did you
it's not
think
my
that
first
he
sexual
prompted
experience
that?
because I never explained it to anyone ever. Never. I never described my first sexual experience ever to anyone, even you.
Really?
You and me have a lot of deep secrets.
We do. You never was your
You
first.
never told me about Sergeant Francis.
No. He was his name was Francis, and he was in World War I in France. And I'm
Would
just.
you really want to be in the army with a name like Francis?
You want to know something that's interesting?
Well, we'll see.
He married my grandmother, obviously, and her name was Francis. Female Francis spelled with an E, male Francis spelled with an I.
That's why that name was so important. It kept coming through as that.
Frank and Fran. I had two.
Francis was also the talking mule. Do you remember that?
I do, and we're dating ourselves. But I'm old enough. Did have a grandfather in World War I named Francis, who I am amazed, and I can't explain it, but there it is. And so the Spicy Psychic on Facebook, check her out. What do you want me to say? I don't know.
We'll be posting a picture of General Francis and his wife Francis and their child Francis Jr. and their aunt Francis Sr. And anybody named Francis, if you write in, you will get a free copy of Bales's book, Life in These Long Island States, or whatever it's called.
Our production manager, Michael Zinn, is giving me the eye, and he's saying to me, I told you there's more to it, you cynic. Okay?
I have something for you, Jackie.
Oh, man.
I'm ready.
You ready? I got to bring you back to, I believe, school, maybe high school.
Okay.
And the name is Greg. And I think there might be more than one Greg. But there's one specific Greg.
There was 1, 2,
There's a lot of Gregs.
3.
But one was a specific, just a character. And I believe he's crossed. I don't believe he's here. Do you know if he's still living?
I know one. One isn't for sure that I know, but none of them. I'm going through the Rolodex of Gregs. None of them are.
I want to say this has 2 G's, perhaps.
No, I wouldn't know that, but
Well, that's how
I
you'll
don't think
know
there were
he
any
is,
Greg
2 G's.
characters. There
He
was
just-
there
he
was the
seemed to-
Gregory.
Yeah, well, Greg. So he's very a humorous person. I think you got along. Was this school, high school, or junior high, or something? Because it looks like I'm seeing you in those pictures when you took him into school, when your lines up with the grade whatever, and you sat in the tables. It looks like one of those kind of pictures.
No, there was a guy named Greg in junior high and 8th grade, but he's one of those guys that wound up at Portledge or
Portledge at
He never made it to East Bay High School.
snobby private school on the
Yeah,
North Shore. All right.
He was the guy I had fun with, Greg Smith.
Okay, there he is.
But and he got.
I also have something else for you. Is your mom Rose? Is your mom's name Rose?
no.
There's no Rose?
Oh, there was a wild Aunt Rose.
Was she very close to you?
Huh?
Was she close to you?
No. I
You
met
don't
her
have.
once or
What's your
twice.
mom's name?
Dorothy.
Who's Rose? An aunt?
There was Rose Compagna, who was the wife of the guy that shot my gymnastic video. She was a character.
No. This is related to you, like a mom, an aunt.
No.
Well, you
Roses.
just said you had an Aunt Rose.
She was.
Could be by
She
marriage.
was like the. And there was no. Back in the 50s, there was no such thing as. Hardly anything known like divorces, and hardly were the girlfriends. And there was somebody related to my my aunt and my uncle. The guy was divorced and had a girlfriend named Rose, which was so unheard of in the 50s. You know, no, is that his wife?
So
No,
there's a
that's his
controversy
girlfriend.
about a Rose in your family, you're saying?
No Rose. I
Well,
would,
you just-
I would know if there was a Rose, because a rose is a rose is a rose.
Moving on.
Sorry. I
You
mean,
said
I'm
you
not
had.
wound
You
up-
said you had an Aunt Rose.
But she was just one of those people that you saw once in a blue moon at my Aunt Eleanor's. But she wasn't an aunt. You know.
She was.
She
Oh,
didn't
like
have to be
You
by
know,
marriage.
she was one of those.
She-
I
said
think
it
my
could be
cousin
by
Jean
marriage.
called
right,
her
but
Aunt
but in
Rose.
those days, and still today, a close friend is sometimes
Right,
called an
right.
aunt.
I
But
would
she
have
wasn't
an aunt.
Aunt Rose to me.
Okay,
She was Aunt
all right.
Rose to the kids.
But what I can't let go by is the fact that you said you haven't mentioned your first sexual experience to anybody, which means to me that was traumatic and not a pleasant memory, because if it was a pleasant memory, you would have shared it.
I'm not sure if the word sex and unpleasant memory ever belong in the same sentence. You know, it's like pizza. You know, the worst is fine.
Okay. All right. And I guess
And I know you agree with that. So
I do agree with it, but okay, I guess we're not going to hear the details of your.
No. Nobody has ever heard the details.
Okay, well, okay, you brought it up, but I'm sitting
So to
here,
speak.
I'm blown away, and I'm thinking.
Is this true? This Francis and Francis?
Yes.
Just said it. He doesn't. He didn't prompt us.
But I don't know what you three got going
I
on.
didn't. This is.
You know, when the cameras stop and next you guys jump on.
I'm
slap
telling
each other,
you.
Yeah, we showed him there.
I'm telling you, I would never set something like that up. I'm telling you,
I would.
One
Think-
thing I can tell you, I'm not a fraud, so nothing was set up.
no. I'm telling you, it was not set up, and I'm blown away. And she's the spicy psychic, and it's fun, but it's also heavy because I'm
But I
feeling.
also have a lot more for him, but I just can't. I can't connect to you, Jackie, so we'll have to do that another time.
Okay, but I'm like,
I'll give you my email, jokeland@aol.com.
and he still
You can
uses
send in your guesses.
he
She can send in
he
her
uses
guesses.
AOL.
They're not guesses.
She's also at the Spicy Psychic on Facebook. You can contact.
The spicy psychic on Facebook, and her husband.
Now, does spicy have an E in it or not?
No.
I told you that.
Okay.
I tried to say there's an E in it.
And this is an incredible couple because you have the spicy psychic married to one of the funniest comedians
That's 10.
around, and he deserves
I've seen
it.
him, and he is that funny, but you're just beating it to death.
Well, I'm just telling the audience, go see Eric Tartaglione.
etcomic.com.
And they can also find you on Facebook.
Facebook. But go to ET Comic to get the spelling of my name.
And your hair is on eBay.
Yes.
Oh, now that is low.
That is wrong.
You know,
That is low.
Jackie, at this point, does it matter?
Well, listen,
It doesn't matter.
I love the two of you. You are fascinating people, deep people, both of you. And I'm a little off.
Jim Cohen. I thank you. Grandfather Francis thanks you.
I had a grandfather, Francis, in World War I who served in
Don't
France.
get teary. The guy
It's just, that kind of thing doesn't happen every day. All right? So,
What about his wife? Was she hot?
my grandmother, I can't think in those terms. I mean, that's
could,
just
you could.
no. But they were both named Francis, so that could be a powerful name for me. And thank you for that, Sue, and making me think
To give you the message.
outside the box.
I will call you if my Aunt Rose pops into my head.
And Eric, my pal, we work together all the time and have so much fun. And
We will be in the car driving to Pennsylvania very soon.
oh, that's right. We got it.
gotta get together.
Hey, here I can do my job. Let's
Are you
end.
dragging him to do that
No.
crap gig?
No, I think we're going to Pennsylvania. We're gonna and you know what? Do you know this? It's true. Do you know what two male comedians say to themselves when they get into a car? The first thing they say to themselves when they get in a car to drive to a faraway gig, like in the middle of Pennsylvania. So, do you want to talk about your father first, or should I? Because we have these issues with our fathers. And that's true. I mean, it's funny, but it's true. Eric Tartaglione.
Don't you want to talk about your father?
No, I don't. I can't handle that.
I don't want to talk
right
about
now.
your father either.
Okay. Eric Tartaglione, terrific comedian. That's
He's a
11.
terrific
That's
comedian who
11
happened to have graduated.
from my comedy school, standupuniversity.com. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. You help me set that up all the time.
I just could not think of a joke by the end, and I just gave up. And also the spicy sidekick.
I'm the spicy sidekick now, stealing the name of spicy psychic.
Recommends the spicy.
I recommend,
sidekick.
open your mind and see what happens. I'm blown away right now. And thank you for watching Stand Up Memories.
It's your turn to buy dinner, you know.
I'll get the next one.
For the people that don't know, every time we go to eat after these shows, Bales never has his money. And he said, I'll get the next one. So for Christmas, I got him a mug. and on the mug it says, "I'll get the next one."
It's true.
Funniest thing I ever
That's
bought.
true. All right. See you next time.
That was a true story.
I know.
That was a pretty good episode.
A new episode every Wednesday with me, Peter Bales, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, comedians, interesting people. Leave a comment. We're gonna get. What am I saying?
I don't know.
We're gonna get back to you. We will respond to your comment.
StandUpMemories.com. If you go there, it shows all the different
All
platforms.
Spotify. We're on everything.
Every Wednesday.
Stand Up Memories.
Every Wednesday.
A new episode.